Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Zach, and here we talk about overlanding, gear, builds, DIY, all sorts of stuff related to modifying your vehicle, getting out there, adventuring in the outdoors. I am a big fan of the Dobinsons suspension system. A lot of guys have different suspensions out there, like, there's so many. Bilstein, Icon, Ironman 4x4, Dobinsons, Fox, King. I really think that there's some nice budget options out there, but Dobinsons sells probably the best bang for your buck and best quality per price or dollars spent if you're trying to build an overland rig. If you don't have the budget for a fully adjustable system like the Dobinson MRR kit, they have the Dobinson IMS kit, which I have talked so many people into putting on their vehicles, and they absolutely love them. The Dobinson IMS kit has, I think, over a 2-inch shock body, so it's bigger than like a Fox 2.0. And I don't know exactly what the size is, but they're pretty awesome. They've got some rubber bushings in places where sometimes other companies use metal, so they typically tend to not squeak. They also just typically last quite long. They don't really have a defined rebuild period, so the Dobinson MRR system that I have on my 4Runner is essentially just a Dobinson IMS kit with some adjustability built into it and a remote reservoir. So they're kind of similar products in a sense. You just get more and you have to spend more to have the Dobinson MRR system. But definitely don't discount the IMS system. I really like that product too. So that all being said, if you're trying to pick a suspension system, maybe I should do a video on that. But Dobinsons seems to be the best overland sort of setup. And I think that's kind of unanimous. There's people that'll argue with me on that, but a lot of guys like King and Fox. Those tend to be like whether you're local or non-local to those companies, and just kind of depends on your preference there. Both Fox and King tend to be more race specific. They're valved to be going faster, so a lot of guys I think will buy Fox and King systems and have them completely revalved if you have a really heavy overland type setup. So definitely check out Dobinsons, because I think it's basically one of the perfect products out there for overland style builds. That being said, their kit doesn't come with absolutely everything you might need. One thing that I really like that I've been running is, one thing that doesn't come with the system that I'd heavily recommend you check out is the bolt-on track bar correction kit, BOTOC, or however you want to say it, sold by Dr. KDSS. I've done a video about that before. I'll link it up in the corner, but I'll also link that product down in the description. This video is not supposed to be sort of a catch-all for extra things you should buy in addition to your Dobinson system, but I guess I'll quick hit on those. So that's one thing. You're definitely going to want extended brake lines. You're going to need extended bump stops. In the rear, I have spacers on top of extended bump stops because I have the long travel system. I think it doesn't have quite as much up travel as some of the others, but it has a lot more down travel. So your bump stops need to hit on the axle sooner than they would if it was a mid-travel rear. Hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes this sort of stuff I'll draw it out if it gets a little confusing. But the latest and greatest thing that I've been adding to the vehicle is this Overland Expedition Outfitters bracket. He has been making this bracket for his own personal installs at his shop, and yeah, reached out to a couple different companies. Most of them weren't selling this bracket anymore, but he doesn't even sell them, and I think he now is going to. So definitely check out the link down in the description. Supply is going to be limited as of now, so if you want one now, get your orders in quick, but he's going to be making more going forward. So with that being said, this video got a little bit more mechanic heavy than I was planning, but we'll jump right into it. I'm going to show you a little bit of footage where I did the passenger side. Took me a lot of learning to kind of figure out exactly how I wanted to do it, but I then talked through it quite thoroughly on the driver's side, and plenty of light, tried to show everything as best I could. It's also sort of a bit of a demonstration of front end teardown on a 5th Gen 4Runner. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Oh, one thing before I forget, these orange gloves, absolutely love them. I get anti-seize and grease all over my hands all the time. I've really gotten in the habit of wearing these. They're great. I go through a couple pairs though because they get really dirty and I just throw them away. They got little bumps on them and stuff, so they're a little bit more grippy. And in the winter, I love them because they keep my hands just that much warmer that I can work on stuff in the garage and whatnot without it being heated at all. I'm here in Minnesota. We have really cold winters, so they definitely work I'll link them down below. These, I think they sell like name brand versions of these gloves, but these are just some cheapies on Amazon. Absolutely awesome. I really like them. So go check them out. Oh, okay. This actually looks promising. Never mind. All right. All right, well, I apologize. It's probably getting hard to see, but I had to completely remove the shock to get the hose rerouted. So I pulled it off of the Dobinson mount back here. Now we're gonna get it rerouted so we can mount up the new bracket. So we're gonna put a hose clamp right here, and then probably another one closer to the actual mount itself. Let's see how this goes. Hopefully we can get it back together fairly quickly, quicker than it took to take apart. Hey everybody, welcome back. So I did this install on the other side already, and it took a really long time. Kind of was a learning approach, so now I'm gonna do this again on this side, try and film it a little bit better while there's daylight, etc. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull off the wheel, and I'll kind of talk you through the next couple steps. So as always, using my Hercules tools. Harbor Freight sent me these, but man, they work awesome. I use them all the time. Next tool I really love here is just my little 3/8 inch impact. Sorry, that other drill is called an impact as well. They're both impacts. I get them mixed up sometimes and people don't like it when I do that, so that is actually what they are. I've just hauled a ton of tools out here from the garage to work on this, so here we go. We've got 14 mil 3/8 inch impact. We're gonna pull off the skid plate under here so I can get at that stuff. So a trick that Trevor at Sidco 4x4 taught me is pinch these. He's got this fancy long needle nose type, but I just use a typical wire cutter. You can pinch, oh yikes, it's kind of falling apart. You can pinch the cotter pin with a wire cutter just lightly and then pry on the nose of it. You can pull it out quite quickly, which is handy. This, pull off these. Bunch of brake brackets on the back side here of the spindle. Pop those off. Little bracket on the SPC arm here. Pop that off as well, kind of get that loose. We've got a bracket on the back here. Holds the brake line. We're gonna move that as well. Well, I've been trying a couple of things here. I figured out that I still got one of my dad's wrenches, and it's a non-ratcheting combo wrench, so that was able to give me enough space to get in there. I probably, when I'm at Sidco next, I'll have him just cut this spindle gusset out just a little bit more so there's a little more space. Dirt King, if you're watching this, maybe consider making that a little bit bigger. I don't know how you guys get in there with a wrench. We cut both sides out a little bit, but they probably need to be cut out even more. Goodness sakes. Oh, good grief. All right, got that off. I'm gonna pull off this plastic clip. So the problem is when we're doing this job, to move this hose, we have to take the whole shock body off. So in a way, this video is showing me taking apart the whole front suspension, basically. So what we gotta do is, got a couple of vice grips. Use them to hold on to these. There. Most of the Dobinson stuff is metric, so I think these are probably like a 5 and a 6 or a 5 and an 8. 5, 6, there we go. These out. A lot of this Dobinson's hardware we're just gonna get rid of, so don't feel like you need to be too easy on it, but trying to set it aside so that I don't get it confused. There we go. So as you can see, I put the vice grip on there before I did the removal so that you don't all of a sudden lose that little tab threaded piece inside the frame, because it might be pretty hard to track down. So we'll set all that aside. The nice thing is the Dobinson's kit comes with a lot of extra hardware. So we're gonna take all this apart, and then I'm just gonna grab some more new hardware from the kit and use that. So now, let's see, I think it's a 13 as well. It might be a half, but they're borderline interchangeable. So here's a 13. Come up here. Maybe this is a 14. Yeah, that's a 14. Another awesome feature of the Dobinson's reservoirs is they have like a dual 3-way pivot or something. So they've got, their hoses are so much more convenient to work with than King and Fox. All right, so let's leave that dangle there for now. Pretty. Pull this out of there because that should be okay like that. All right, now we'll remove these couple bolts here in the middle. This shock bolt is a 19 on both sides. So I'll grab my big heavy duty impact here and then grab my 19 combo wrench right here. Gonna reach in here and pull this bolt out. This one is, I think, spec'd at 70 foot-pounds, so should pop off real easy, but all of these are so easy to remove with this big torque impact, ultra torque impact, whatever they call it. All right, that might need a little prying to actually get loose. I'm gonna wait on that though. I'm gonna go up to the top here of the shock tower, pull out these bolts. Some of these might be a little tricky for you to remove if it's your first time working on your truck. I put all these on with some anti-seize the last time I was working on it, so they've been coming loose fairly easily. That's 10 millimeter. I think these are 12s. Psych, 14. Another thing Trevor taught me at Sidco 4x4 is to kind of smack your wrench rather than just push on it. Kind of simulates an impact driver. Might help break some stuff free rather than just trying to slowly turn. Sometimes you just need that braking power rather than pushing, because the slow push might actually just twist off. So at least that's what he told me. All right, once we break those free, I'm gonna get my extended arm ratchet on there and try and pop those off. They're 14s. This tool is also a total lifesaver. Two down, one more to go. I think before we get any farther though, I'm gonna remove this little P-loop up here holding this hose. I think it's a 5 or 6. Looks to be a 6. All right, that alone right up there is why you need this kit. That little bolt is so annoying to work with. You got to get a wrench like up behind here to hold it so that you can put it in, take it out. There's no threads, it's just a hole in this metal. So once we've got this removed, we've got the 2 nuts right here and here taken out. Then there's one right around in the back. And I think there's another nut for the ABS bracket. Once we start getting some of these out, we can take this hose, and what we're gonna do is run it behind the shock up right through here. We'll run this hose. We're gonna put a P-clamp for it right here on the shock tower, right there. And then we'll put another one right over here using this hole here. That's what I did on the other side. It should work pretty awesome. So stay tuned. Let's keep on moving. That's crazy. The hose actually came over the top on this one. No way. Okay, that might save a fair amount of work. Got that just hanging there. That should be good. What we have to figure out is how easy it will be to slip this around the back there. So now there's this teeny little screw right in the top and the back that holds on this bracket for the ABS wire. And we gotta, I did it on both sides. You gotta pop it off because there's like a special little pathway that you're gonna thread the hose for this reservoir through. So I'm gonna remove that bolt quick. It's kind of a pain, but so right up behind there is this little bracket. See this? It bolts right on the back of the shock tower there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the hose right through here over the shock tower. We gotta pull that back, and that allows us to slip the hose right by there. So hopefully that kind of explains it. I had to pull the hose up and over the top of this. Sort of gotta play around the upper control arm a little bit, but hopefully that kind of makes sense. I'll try and film when I'm putting this over now. All right, so I lied. Before we put that over, what I'm gonna do is put in the P-clamp that I need. So I've got a fair amount of this hardware from Dobinsons still. These little, I'm just putting in brand new P-clamps because I've got extras. I've got a couple of different little bolts in these packages. So all I'm doing is grabbing one of these bolts. I'm gonna put the P-clamp through, and then we're gonna bolt it like right in through here. So I'm gonna remove this. It might be okay. I might just tuck it out of the way, but I'm gonna pull this bracket off of here so I can get in here at an angle with my drill and drill a little hole. So I think I've got a good enough angle where I can show you how I'm doing that. First of all, I've got this center punch that I was using that just kind of helps to keep this a little bit centered. So go kind of right up in here. Just like that. That marks a little hole, and then I've got these, again, I've got a bunch of Hercules drill bits. See these? These are pretty awesome, titanium coated, come in a nice packaging, extra long length, 1/4-inch drill drive. They rock. So I'm gonna drill a pilot hole with an 1/8 inch drill bit, and then I'm gonna use this 5/16 drill bit. If you have some sort of oil or lube handy, that'll help these go in nice and smooth. I do not. Maybe I could go find something, but I'm lazy. Don't really feel like doing that. So now what I'm gonna do here is I created some nice space to get access. I've got a little 1/4-inch drive extension. I'm gonna put the drill bit on it just like that. Hook it into my drill. Come in through here at an angle, and away we go. All right. So we made it through. Now I'm gonna step up to my larger bit. The reason I'm doing 5/16 is because my bolt here is pretty big. You could go smaller if you really wanted to. Totally up to you. Drill bit kind of fell out of my drill. Main thing is I just didn't want to hit the brake line in any way, and we didn't do that, so. What a joke. Guess that extension broke. Hercules extension. Don't recommend. Hercules drill bits have worked great. All right, let's try no extension here. There we go. All right, that hole's cleaned out enough. So now let's see if we can get this hose routed how we want. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around the upper control arm, just like this. Around the brake line, like so. Just like that. So our hose is gonna lay in there nice right behind there. We'll use the P-clamp to kind of make the hose sit where we want it to. This hose isn't sneaking by as easy as last time, but there we go, got it. All right, so I had to do this on the other side as well. Gosh, I tell you what, these SPC ball joints just bleed grease. I don't know how there's always so much grease coming out of them every single time. I wipe them down, there's more on there. I wipe them down again, there's still more. Okay, so we gotta get the hose right by this upper control arm. In theory, you could just do this when your upper control arm's out, but I kinda just did this. This is just sheet metal, so. Perfect. All right. I think there should be enough space back there to get that through. Just gonna have to do a bit of shimmying. Okay. Might be blocking your guys' view. Let's see what we got here. There. All right, for visualization purposes, I removed the shock tower. You can see right there, there's a little clip. So right there is a clip that holds a little thing of breather hoses that's on the back of the shock tower. And it's preventing me from sliding that hose right by there. Maybe this is another angle. So that clip right there I completely cracked it. It's toasted. But what I'm gonna do is maybe I'll replace it. I'm gonna throw a zip tie through there, since there's that hole right next to it. We'll see how it goes. Not very helpful, but I'm trying to show you that there's the back side of the clip. I'm trying to get the hose by there. So, kind of a horrible visual, but anyway, maybe this will help. So there's the hose for the Dobinsons. There's the 2 breather hoses. And then right past there, you can see they continue on. There's that plastic clip that I just obliterated. So now we're ready to go. So while trying to do this, I discovered there was another clip. It's kind of hard to show this, but there was one clip right up there, like we talked about earlier. There was another one right in that hole there. So the hose now, there's a couple breather hoses now. They're gonna go on the outside of the hose. So this hose from the Reservoir is gonna curve right around, sort of near those holes right there. And then the breather hoses will go around them, and I'm gonna zip tie them in place. Hopefully that's not an issue and that'll all be fine. Because the P hose here, or P clamp here, helps to hold that hose that's around the shock tower from really rubbing too much. So hopefully all this will be good. But like I do on this channel, I'm not doing a step-by-step guide here. I'm just showing you what I'm doing, and you know, maybe it'll provide a little bit of inspiration, but there might be a better way to do this. I'm kind of just going out on my own here, you know, drilling into my truck, that sort of thing. Can't remember if the camera was rolling or not, but the breather hose is zip tied, double zip tied in the back. I don't want it to like come loose and burn off or something. I don't know. Oh. All right, so I'm trying to give myself just a teeny bit of slack here. I've got this bolt started. So now my plan is to just get this nut in there started. I mean, it's all I need. I'm gonna hold on to the nut with this needle nose vice grip. So hopefully this won't be too difficult. Losing some of our strength here. So good in there. There we go. Don't have much ABS line here to play around with. The other side, I wasn't able to use these short bolts, but maybe here I can. I'll try it. Let's see what we can do. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. There we go. Right. Right, there we go. Oh, I like that so much more. That looks really nice. All right, so now that the bulk of this is all put together, we can mount up the brackets. So this is, I think, an 8. It's nothing too crazy complicated about this. This bracket's gonna go right where your sway bar connects to your frame. Go right here, just like this. Dabbed of anti-seize to throw on these bolts, and then I can get these bolts for the sway bar put back on. Minnesota really has perfected how to ruin a perfectly good car though, with the weather and the roads and everything here. So that's pretty sick. I'm keeping the Dobinsons bracket on here. I deleted my sway bar because of my 35 spindle gusset, but if I ever decide to add this in the future, or add my sway bar back in the future, which you could if you just cut the spindle gusset out for it. I'm keeping the little spacer. All right, so all I'm doing is basically finger tightening these bolts into place right now. And then we'll get everything dialed in once I've got the bolts in place. Let's come on. I mean, if I don't have the sway bar on, these little spacers are kind of cool. They've got the little Dobinsons logo there. Kind of like it. Another little reminder that I spent money on Dobinson suspension. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this bracket as far away from the firewall up there as I can, or sorry, from the sheet metal up here as I can, because I don't want it to kind of rub up there. There. All right, that's nice and tight. Perfect. Okay, so now, once we have the bracket in place, they send these nice little hose clamps, basically. What I realized is the heat shrink they include, you could cut to length, but I just decided to throw it around the entire thing so that these hose clamps didn't really damage anything. So, because when you take the heat shrink they've included and you wrap it around, see, it's never going to actually fully encompass the reservoir, so I just use the whole thing, but you could cut it to length if you want. I also don't know if I'll ever take this apart in the future, and while using a heat gun on this would make it look a bit prettier, this is more serviceable in my opinion. Like, I don't know, and it just provides a little bit more padding. Maybe I'm just justifying not heating it up, I don't know. I didn't do the other side because it was like 11 o'clock at night and I didn't want to get my heat gun out. So I figure I'll do it evenly on both sides. So just slide the heat shrink on all the way just like so. And then I'm gonna start this off the vehicle and then it'll be ready to go when I slide it onto the vehicle. I like where that's sitting. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab my needle nose vice grip again, get it ready to hold this thread. Same thing as last time too. We're gonna install a brand new hose clamp, because why not, when you got so many. Ta-da! There we go. So looks the same exact way on the other side. Basically the same process. It's not too hard, but I would recommend doing this from the start rather than retrospectively doing it, kind of like I'm doing, or retroactively doing it, I guess I should say, like I'm doing. Well, I got everything basically bolted up and put back together. And I think it turned out really nice. Check that out. The hose comes behind the shock, up behind the shock tower, down, right up there. I'll show you guys on the passenger side. It's pretty awesome. You can see all the Dobinson MRR stuff just right there. So I just got done installing those MRR brackets to hold the reservoirs, And you might be thinking, Zach, why on earth are you doing this modification? Like, your title's kind of dramatic. What's the deal here? And yeah, the title is a bit dramatic, but if you haven't noticed already, YouTube kind of makes you make it to a dramatic title so that people will click on the video. And yeah, otherwise just sometimes you don't get good engagement or you don't get new people coming to check out your content, that sort of thing. So I apologize in advance for those types of titles, probably going forward. But yeah, the reason why I really like this bracket, and I reached out to a couple other companies, and eventually Overland Expedition Outfitters, I think they're in Texas, kind of came to my aid as I looked under my front suspension and I realized my upper control arms were rubbing on that hose. So per the Dobinson instructions, and why I think there's so many extra P-clamps, is you're supposed to kind of clamp it all the way up and over the shock tower to keep it out of the way of the upper control arm really moving. I kind of tried to do that. I kind of didn't. I sort of thought that it would be okay if it was slightly rubbing in spots, or maybe the hose would kind of kink its way out of the way. But in the end, that was kind of stupid. And I realized that there was just ever so slight rubbing on the hose and started to get me a little bit worried. Not to mention, where I had my reservoirs mounted previously made them a little bit harder to actually reach under there and adjust them. So now the way that it's set up, the adjusters are about as close as you can get to the wheel well, you know, access points in the 4Runner, and I really like that as well. So this kind of spurred me, but I also think it's just a really nice option for when you're installing these. As you saw, running the hose up and over the shock tower is kind of frustrating. Running the hose behind the shock tower can be a bit tricky. But overall, I really like how these mount up compared to the brackets that are included with the Dobinsons kit. Not that they don't work, they work just fine. But I think especially if you have KDSS, I've heard that the original mounts that come with the Dobinsons kit just don't work quite as well. And so I think that this is gonna be kind of a nice alternative for those of you out there that have KDSS, or you're like me and you just want them to be more accessible. Don't get me wrong though, these definitely look sweet, and when you basically walk by the vehicle, now you see the remote reservoir, so it makes you kind of proud to own the Dobinson stuff, and you get to see it more often, which I think is really cool too. So kind of for all those reasons, I really like this, and at the price point these come in, I don't think they're gonna break the bank, and they'd be a nice little add-on to your Dobinsons lift. So those are kind of my thoughts on this bracket. I really like it. Big shout out to Overland Expedition Outfitters for sending me these. I just reached out to them to see if they were still making them. Apparently, they don't even sell them typically, but they're gonna start selling them. There was a company back in the day selling them called Apache Off-Road, but I reached out to them as well, and they haven't been selling them as of late. So if you want these sort of brackets, definitely go down and check them out in the description. He doesn't have a lot of them in stock, but he's going to, I think, order more if there's interest. So there's a little bit of a lead time on them, but it's really not that bad. So if you really want these, go check those out in the description, because who knows how long they'll be around. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support. Hopefully we're gonna hit 20K subscribers here pretty soon. I've got some awesome Harbor Freight content coming here in the near future. Gonna do a little bit of a shop update because I've made some improvements to the shop, but yeah, those are kind of the things. Land Cruiser gets back from Sidco 4x4 in roughly a week or week and a half. And oh man, let the Land Cruiser content begin. It's gonna be pretty sweet. If you're not subscribed already, I'd really recommend you do so, or at least consider it, because come on, we're doing some fun Overland content here on my channel. So thank you so much for the support. I will catch you all in the next video.